Parenting. There's a lot of it. And while not all parents are created equal, we all fall somewhere on the same beautifully chaotic spectrum. But this isn't another worst to best ranking. It's the 7 stages every parent stumbles through, from keeping tiny humans alive to wondering if Bluey counts as co-parenting. If you've ever bribed a toddler with raisins from the glove box or whispered, "I love you," through clenched teeth, this one's for you. These are the 7 levels of parenting. Level 1, the survival parent. Your parenting philosophy is simple. Nobody dies today. That's it. That's the whole strategy. You once had dreams, Montessori shelves, organic snacks, maybe a family yoga session. Now, you just microwaved chicken nuggets 3 times because you kept forgetting them. Your house looks like Toys R Us exploded and then got looted by raccoons. You tried organizing toys by category, but now there's a Spider-Man sock in the fridge and a toothbrush in the microwave. You've surrendered because toddlers can destroy a clean room faster than you can say, "Why is there peanut butter on the ceiling?" Screen time limits, adorable theoretical concepts. Your kids watched 6 hours of Bluey and now speaks with an Australian accent. And you've justified it as social-emotional learning, which totally explains your own unhealthy addiction to animated dogs. The survival parent doesn't have low standards. They have combat standards. Your child ate something green today? Nobel Prize. They wore pants to leave the house? You're basically a child development expert. But here's what no one tells you. This level isn't lazy, it's tactical. Your brain did the math and calculated. Keeping everyone alive today requires 127% of available resources. So things like matching socks, emptying the dishwasher, or remembering what year it is got sacrificed for the greater good. Because some days we survived isn't failure, it's a parenting win. And trust me, this chaos, it's only level 1. What's coming next will feel disturbingly familiar. Quick pause. Apparently, 97% of people who watch Sticko don't subscribe, which honestly makes sense. You probably opened this in one tab, then got pulled away by a yogurt explosion in the hallway. Totally valid. Meanwhile, there's peanut butter on the ceiling, and somehow you still haven't clicked subscribe. Now here's your chance. Tap it. It's quicker than cleaning ceiling peanut butter and way more satisfying. Level 2, the routine builder. You've discovered a truth whispered in parenting books and echoed across mom blogs. Children thrive on routine. Sounds lovely. Until you realize your child's internal clock was assembled by drunk clockmakers during a blackout on a roller coaster. Your fridge now looks like NASA mission control. Color-coded charts for meals, naps, potty breaks, with backup snacks, of course. You've read exactly 1 sleep training book and now quote it like it's scripture. According to Dr. Whatever, toddlers require 17 hours of sleep across 4 perfectly timed naps and 1 overnight coma. Your childless friends think you've developed OCD. Your parenting friends just nod like, "Ah, yes, the laminated schedule phase. May the odds be ever in your favor." You've become a logistics manager for a tiny, irrational CEO. Clothes laid out the night before. Snacks pre-portioned and pre-approved. A fistful of stale Cheerios in a Ziploc. You've orchestrated more wardrobe changes than a Super Bowl halftime show just to get your child out the door. You time naps down to the minute because once you lived dangerously and let your toddler sleep at 1:07 instead of 1, and the consequences were biblical. Full meltdown. 4 horsemen. Paw Patrol rejected. But here's the catch. Your perfectly planned day, 1 missing sock equals delay. Sidewalk crack equals detour. Cereal touching milk, full existential crisis. Your laminated masterpiece, a suggestion. Their whims, law. And yet, you persist because you've seen level 1 chaos. You've stared into the abyss of sock meltdowns and yogurt explosions. You refuse to go back. You're no longer a parent. You're a battle-worn scheduler, clinging to order like it's the last life raft on a cruise ship run by toddlers. Level 3, the conscious parent. At some point, you discovered there's actual science behind parenting. And now, every meltdown feels like a golden opportunity to build neural pathways. You've upgraded from keep them alive to optimize their emotional intelligence while neurosculpting their prefrontal cortex. You've read more parenting books than your kid has eaten goldfish crackers. You can now confidently explain the difference between authoritative and authoritarian, and you're not afraid to correct strangers in playgrounds who confuse the two. You talk to your toddler like a tiny therapist in training. I notice you're experiencing big feelings about your tower falling down. Can you help me understand where that frustration lives in your body? Your toddler stares like you just spoke ancient Sanskrit and calmly replies, "Juice box." Your vocabulary has undergone a full transformation. Tantrums are now emotional dysregulation. Lying is a maladaptive strategy for unmet needs. Timeout is a reflection corner for restorative connection. You're basically running a micro lab for emotional development. And no, it's not exhausting at all. You practice gentle discipline with the patience of a Buddhist monk in the consistency of a Swiss watch. Instead of "stop hitting your sister," you calmly whisper, "I see you're having trouble keeping your hands to yourself. Your sister's body belongs to her. Let's think of ways our hands can show love instead of chaos." This turns every parenting moment into a psychological chess match. Do I validate this meltdown or let them sit in discomfort to build resilience? Will helping them now encourage learned helplessness? It's parenting Sudoku while sleep deprived and being peppered with 59 whys before 8 a.m. And just when you think you nailed it, your 4-year-old looks at your masterclass explanation about generosity and says, "Sharing is stupid and you smell like coffee." But then it works. Your kid develops empathy. They communicate their feelings. They even start psychoanalyzing you. Maybe you need a calming corner. It's impressive. It's slightly terrifying, and you still don't know whether you're raising a future therapist or a cult leader. And if conscious parenting feels like a mental marathon, wait till you hit the research phase. Level 4, the research parent. You've evolved past parenting books. Now it's peer-reviewed journals or bust. Your bookmarks look like a PhD dissertation. Child psychology, longitudinal studies, and why siblings fight more on Tuesdays. You evaluate curriculum models against current data on play-based versus academic readiness. Chatting with you feels like reading a literature review. Actually, recent longitudinal studies suggested helicopter parenting impairs executive functioning. Even your dog sighs when you bring up cortisol studies at dinner. You keep going anyway, because science. You know the optimal ratios for everything. Screen time, 1 hour. Reading, 20 minutes. Outdoor play, exactly 63.5 minutes. Broccoli eye contact, still inconclusive. But here's the trap. The more you know, the harder it gets to decide anything. Do you buy the wooden toy made from organic bamboo or the plastic one backed by a meta-analysis on cognitive stimulation? Do you let them get bored or is that stunting their divergent thinking? And you kind of forgot your child isn't a research subject. They're just a kid who wants to eat Play-Doh and chase pigeons. Analysis paralysis sets in hard. You're not parenting anymore. You're basically running Shark Tank. But for which toothpaste flavor sparks the least outrage? Level 5, the optimization parent. You're no longer raising kids. You're engineering peak human prototypes. Every hour is optimized. Every activity is curated. Your kid's schedule looks like a CEO training for the Olympics while applying to Harvard. Music lessons for neural development, sports for coordination, Mandarin immersion for global fluency, chess for strategic thinking, art class to round out the college essay. Because how else will they explain their trauma with nuance at age 30? Your family doesn't go on vacation. Disney's only allowed if you can sneak in STEM somehow. Technically, the ride queue involves spatial reasoning. Toys are now developmental tools. Screens are okay, but only if the app was approved by a Scandinavian child psychologist with at least 2 TED Talks. You exchange resources with other optimization parents like it's Wall Street for enrichment hacks. Did you hear Miss Sanderson's class is doing early math fluency this term? I've already emailed the principal. But here's the cost. There's no white space. Your kids don't get to be bored because even boredom must be purposeful. Everyone's exhausted, including you. Your child starts feeling like a walking report card, constantly evaluated against what they could be instead of just being who they are. And deep down, you start to wonder if peak performance came at the cost of peace. But if you think optimization was pressure, perfectionism takes it nuclear. Level 6, the perfectionist parent. You've officially entered your no mistakes allowed era. Every parenting decision now feels like defusing a bomb, blindfolded, while being judged by your in-laws. One wrong move, boom. therapy, trust issues, and a future TED Talk titled How My Mom Ruined My Life with Organic Raisins. You operate from a place of beautiful, anxious love. You love them so much, it's basically a full-time job keeping them from developing a single emotional bruise. Your mantra? They will feel safe, seen, heard, and perfectly stimulated at all times. Their artwork must be fridge-worthy and Instagrammable. Their birthday party has to look like Coachella for toddlers, with gluten-free cake, a live alpaca, and curated goodie bags that whisper, "You are worthy." You've devoured so much advice, your screen report thinks you're doing a PhD in parenting anxiety. You don't make decisions anymore. You spiral into 3-day research rabbit holes, emerge only to whisper, "Will this lunchbox ruin their attachment style?" You mean well, truly. But now your 6-year-old thinks your love depends on how well they write a thank you card in cursive. And that's the glitch in the perfectionist matrix. Because perfectionism isn't love in action. It's fear in disguise. And the antidote? Being the kind of parent who burns the cookies and still shows up with hugs and goofy dance moves. Level 7, the wise parent. You've officially graduated, not from the chaos, that's eternal, but from thinking you can control your way out of it. The wise parent has been through all the levels. You've survived the tantrums, the parenting books, the existential crises in the cereal aisle. You've optimized, you've overthought, overparented, and now you choose presence over perfection. You no longer see parenting as a performance. It's a relationship. Messy, real, beautifully human. You trust your instincts, but bring a toolkit. You use research like seasoning, not the whole meal. Your routines flex. Your rules breathe. You've realized that connection beats control every single time. You no longer spiral over screen time. You say things like, "Yeah, they watched 2 hours of cartoon and also built a blanket fort and didn't bite anymore." That's balance. You've stopped comparing your chaos to Pinterest perfection. You understand every kid unfolds on their own timeline, and your job isn't to mold them, but to love them as they become. And no, you're not perfect. You still lose your cool. You still forget the bake sale again, but you repair, you reconnect. You model what it means to be human and loved. Because parenting isn't about preventing all the bumps. It's about being the steady hand that says, "I've got you, even here." And that, dear parent, is wisdom.